Did you know that nowadays, within each and every sport, a completely different type of game is being played? A game that's not about skill, strategy, or teamwork, but about odds, stakes, and cold hard cash. You'd be surprised to know that the market of that different game, growing by $218 billion per year, already occupying 20% of the global sports market. That's the $102.4 billion industry of sports betting, an arena that has exploded into the mainstream as fast as Usain Bolt. With just a few clicks or taps, anyone can place a bet on their favorite team or player. It's as easy as ordering a pizza and potentially a lot more profitable. But while we enjoy how easy it is and the excitement of possibly winning big, there's a big question. Is this new industry causing problems for the sports we enjoy? Are the athletes who are the most important part of these games suffering because of this? In this video, we're going to explore the unseen impacts of sports betting becoming mainstream. Is it a harmless pastime, or is it ruining sports, athletes, and sportsmanship? The world of sports gambling is booming, raking in millions. But it's more of a curse than a blessing, especially in the NBA games where fans are within arm's reach of their favorite athletes. Fans, not just content with watching the game, are now wasting no time to throw insults at players and coaches. Why? Because they're losing money on their bets. When you lose your money, you can't appreciate the sport or respect the sportsman. No denying that NBA games have always had their share of trash talk, both on and off the court, but it's never been this nasty before. Thanks to easy access to betting sites like DraftKings and FanDuel, fans can place bets right from their seats, not only on the game's outcome, but on every stat, every play. And whenever their bets don't pay off, things turn ugly. As LA Clippers forward PJ Tucker said,
"Listen, not about this. Have you noticed fans being more loud about gambling and shit, about bets and shit?"
Ooh, that is big. That is so funny. Nobody ever talks about that, but that is a lot. 100%. I seen somebody else just posted because fans when guys are not doing whatever they bet on, and fans losing it, and then people see some of the DMs and some of the messages and comments people leave. It's getting outrageous. It's getting kind of crazy, and even in the arenas, hearing fans yell at guys about their bets, it's unreal. So it's something that I've talked about for a while and I even posted about, but now more people are starting to.
Despite the growing awareness of this issue, the NBA hasn't taken any concrete steps yet. Instead, they choose to advertise betting apps at every turn. Some teams are increasing security at games and even ramping up cybersecurity to shield players from online hate. But the concern remains. Is this affecting the players' performance? Hell yes! As Indiana Pacers guard Tyrese Halliburton confessed,
"To half the world, I'm just helping them make money on DraftKings or whatever. You know what I mean? I'm the prop. You know what I mean? That's what my social media mostly consists of. I think it's important for us to have somebody to talk to, and I think all that stuff is it can be funny sometimes. When somebody's I lost $1,000 to. I don't give a I do think that it's important for us to just have conversations with people who really value who we are as human beings, and it's not just sports psychology, but it's our teammates, it's our loved ones, it's people who really look out for our well-being.
Yet the bond between betting and professional sports leagues like the NBA shows no signs of breaking. This is not the NBA scenario only. Athletes at this year's NCAA tournaments are also facing this chilling reality: death threats on social media. Players like Angel Reese, Gabby Marshall, and Carson Barrett have been targeted following key game moments. Why? Their performance has impacted betting outcomes. Naturally, this alarming trend is raising eyebrows and sparking debates about the safety of college athletes. Former players, including famous Michigan's Fab Five, admit that the abuse has mainly escalated with the rise of social media. Fans now have direct access to athletes. Particularly, losing bettors are relentlessly targeting players on social media to vent their anger with classism, racism, sexism, death threat, rape threat, and whatnot. People are calling for tougher punishments and awareness campaigns. NCAA President Charlie Baker also believes that the surge in abuse is linked to sports gambling. and he's pushing for changes in regulations and data monitoring to spot threats.
I've talked to a lot of coaches about this, and I've talked to a ton of conference commissioners and athletic directors, and yeah, they're all concerned. And I think they're concerned about it for the same reasons we are.
Because no athlete ever deserves to face death threats. For example,
I'm going to have 9 million death threats and whatnot. At this point in my career, I'd say I'm used to it, Rogers said. I kind of wish social media didn't exist. Rogers' compatriot Sloane Stephens also spoke out about the online abuse she received following her 5-7, 6-2, 6-3 third-round loss to Angelique Kerber. Stephens said she received more than 2,000 messages of abuse, including racist and sexist comments, and posted examples of the abuse in an Instagram story. You could probably go through my profile right now. I'm probably a fat pig, and words that I can't say right now, added Rogers, who knocked out world number 1 Ashley Barty in the third round. It's really unfortunate and some of it does get to your head sometimes. The Women's Tennis Association, WTA, says it is working on the issue of online abuse towards professional athletes with a risk assessment and management company called Theseus.
this was just one example out of hundreds or thousands. Eventually, the NCAA is stepping up to protect these young athletes from a rising tide of harassment. NCAA President Charlie Baker is leading the charge, as his mission is clear: protect the athletes and keep the game clean. Their target? Prop bets, of course. These are bets on specific actions in a game, like how many points a player will score or how many yards they'll run. While betting on sports is legal in many places, prop bets on college sports are mostly off-limits. But there are exceptions. Kansas, Louisiana, Michigan, and Wyoming allow them. Washington, D.C. doesn't have any restrictions at all. Some states allow a limited form of prop betting, but with strict rules. But the year 2024 came with a grand twist. Several states this year banned prop bets on college athletes due to scandals. One of the most notable involved Alabama's baseball team and their former coach, Brad Bohannon. His actions led to a 5-year suspension and a hefty penalty from the NCAA. If you didn't know about it, let me tell you. On April 28th last year, a guy named Bert Eugene Neff Jr. went into the BetMGM sportsbook at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati with a lot of money. He wanted to bet big on a college baseball game between Alabama and LSU, the #1 team. But the staff got suspicious because he wanted to bet over $100,000, which was more than they usually allowed for college baseball games. Neff said he had secret info about the game that he got from texting with Alabama's baseball coach, Brad Bohannon, using an app called Signal. The security cameras caught Neff acting out of the ordinary, and they found out about his connection to Bohannon. Because of this, Alabama fired Bohannon on May 4th for breaking the rules about sharing sports info with gamblers and betting on games. The Ohio Casino Control Commission and the Southeastern Conference started looking into what happened. Then, at the University of Cincinnati, where Neff worked, they fired 2 staff members and started an investigation. Even Xavier University got pulled into it when the NCAA started checking things out. And if you think it's just happening now, no, it was even before. Hope you remember what happened back in 2007 that really shook up the NBA. Tim Donaghy used to be a referee for a long time, over 13 years, and was pretty well respected. But then it turned out he was doing some shady stuff. The FBI found out he was betting on games and telling secrets to gamblers. This was a big problem because it made people wonder if the games were fair or if the refs were being sneaky. The NBA got really worried about its reputation, so they started looking into it. They found out what Donaghy was up to and punished him. He got suspended from his job and later he quit. He even went to prison for what he did. After this mess, the NBA realized they had to make some changes to stop this kind of thing from happening again. They wanted to make sure everyone could trust the league and the refs. So sports betting is nothing new, but now it's spreading like a virus, ruining the importance of sports, which makes it a much bigger problem. Due to betting, people believe everything in sports is scripted. Naturally, fans become pissed off when their favorite player performs subpar, and the better fans become agitated when they think the players go off track from the script, leading to the bet's loss. In both cases, people start heckling the players, both on the field and off the field. Nobody cares about the athletes these days. Nobody thinks they are also flesh and blood humans, and all this heckling terribly affects their bodies, minds, and performances. Remember when Naomi Osaka, the tennis champ, dropped out of the French Open in May 2021? She said it was because of her mental health.
Quand même une grosse joueuse, voilà, et on sait qu'elle était attendue sur terre battue, parce que bon, sur dur en ce moment c'est la reine, il y a rien à dire.
Ya que una persona en su condición mental, aparte de sentir toda la presión que se siente en una cancha de tenis, no tiene por qué tener otra presión como de hablar al público.
Other big names like Serena Williams, Usain Bolt, and Michael Phelps also showed support. And an app called Calm went viral for offering to pay Osaka's fines. That's a big problem, and that's how sports betting puts a lot of pressure on the majority of athletes. Coaches, fans, and now even bettors are watching their every move as the players are nothing but puppets playing on the field. But who's actually at fault here? Let's break it down to reach out to the answer. You see, sports leagues used to be against gambling because they were worried it might make their games less fair. They supported a law called the Professional and Amateur Sports Protection Act of 1992, which stopped people from betting on sports in the US. But something changed in May 2018. The Supreme Court said this law wasn't applicable. That was the golden ticket for leagues and TV networks to start gambling again. They showed ads from companies like DraftKings and FanDuel in the stadiums and on TV. Even athletes like Davante Adams from the Las Vegas Raiders got paid to advertise for gambling companies. Sports news started talking more about point spreads and totals as well. Every turn, there is a mention of sports gambling. So are sports networks even concerned about the athletes? Or are they more concerned about their endorsement deals and what they can make from the sports fans? And if that's not enough, ESPN itself just launched a new app called ESPN Bet in 17 states. Dennis Denninger, a professor at Syracuse University who used to work at ESPN, thinks this fits well with ESPN's goal of helping sports fans. ESPN's deal with Penn Entertainment is about branding, not running the betting part directly. Penn will pay ESPN $150 million each year for 10 years to use the ESPN name. You might think it's shady, but that's just one side of the coin. Come and see the other side. A lot of players also participated in sports gambling, and some of them were caught red-handed as well. For example, the NBA is in a tight spot with Jonte Porter from the Toronto Raptors under investigation. People are talking about some fishy stuff going on with bets connected to how Porter plays in games. Meanwhile, in football, there's drama too. Kayshon Boutte, who plays for the New England Patriots, is caught up in legal trouble. It all started back when he played for Louisiana State University. There were rumors about him doing shady stuff, even back then. Now Boutte is in trouble for supposedly doing illegal online gambling when he was still in college. He allegedly made over 8,900 bets online using a fake name. It's a big mess, and it shows how tempting it can be to do things you shouldn't, and how it can all come crashing down on you in the end. How can we forget about the problem in the NFL? Calvin Ridley was one of the first ones in recent history to have been caught up in a cheating scandal. The NFL punished Ridley hard and set out to make a statement that betting on games was prohibited. They suspended him for a year and was traded to the Jacksonville Jaguars during his suspension. Why? Because he got caught betting on NFL games. He did it during a short break in November 2021 when he was on a mental health break. Not only that, but back in 2023 also, things were looking great for Newcastle United and their new player, Sandro Tonali. They splashed out a huge $67 million to get him on board. Tonali kicked off his Premier League career with a bang, scoring a goal in just minutes into his debut against Aston Villa. He even faced his old team Milan in the Champions League and managed to grab a point at their home ground, the San Siro Stadium. But now there's trouble brewing. Turns out that Tonali's success story has hit a snag. News came out that Italian authorities are investigating him for getting involved in illegal betting. The Italian Football Federation, FIGC, dropped a bombshell, slapping Tonali with a 10-month ban for breaking betting rules back in Italy. That probably means he won't be playing for the rest of Newcastle's season, and if Italy makes the Euro 2024, he might miss out on that too. The Tonali saga is part of a broader betting scandal in Italian football. It kicked off with Niccolò Fagioli from Juventus dabbling in dubious betting sites. Tonali and Niccolò Zaniolo got caught in the fray, prompting police questioning and their withdrawal from Italy's Euro 2024 qualifiers. Fagioli confessed, receiving a 7-month ban and undergoing therapy. Tonali admitted to gambling on games during his stints at Milan and Brescia, citing addiction, and faces severe penalties. But the point I'm trying to make here is, if the sports clubs and sports channels are openly fanning the idea of sports betting since 2018, why punish all those players who are getting involved with this? When players fail to perform as per expectations, bettors are heckling them. When players are getting into sports betting, they're also being punished by the regulatory system. In both cases, no matter what happens, it's only the players who are the predetermined scapegoats. If that's not the biggest hypocrisy, what is? And even if we let that go for a moment, sports betting is no good for you, me, or anyone. It's not just me saying, but John Affleck, who works at Penn, saying, "Remember Penn, as I mentioned a while ago?" Mr. Affleck noticed that more and more people are gambling on sports. They can bet during games using smartphone apps like DraftKings. But that's what leads this to an addiction, often because they get tempted by good deals and promotions on gambling apps. Sports betting is like gambling at a casino. Everyone wants to hit it big and hit the 1000x odds parlay. But like casinos, these companies are not built because they like to give out money. It preys on the financially irresponsible that are hoping to get them out of the hole that they've dug themselves in. You're bound to be a loser in the end unless you're one of thousands. Now, before we end, just imagine a world where sports are no longer just about the thrill of the game. Instead, it's a world where a game's outcome is not determined by skill, strategy, or even luck, but by a sinister agreement made in secret. This is the dark side of sports gambling. The integrity of the sport is compromised, and the authenticity of the competition is totally lost. But imagine being an athlete in this world. The pressure to perform is no longer just about winning for the team, but also about satisfying the expectations of those who have placed bets, like a puppet. This pressure can lead to unethical behavior or compromised performance. Naturally, there's no love and passion for the game. Sportsmanship and fan loyalty may decline as the game becomes more about betting outcomes than the sport itself. Rather, minors and those with gambling addiction issues may be exploited, leading to problem gambling that can result in financial hardship, mental health issues, and strained relationships. And if we look into the bigger picture, the governing bodies of the sports industry could become corrupt if they're not adequately equipped to regulate sports gambling. This could lead to conflicts of interest, lax enforcement of rules, and compromised integrity. Overall, sports have always promoted healthy activity, but the rise in sports betting has completely ruined that like a paradox. So, do you think this rapidly booming market, which already owns 20% of the sports industry, should grow any further? What measures could be taken to resist it? Share your thoughts below and subscribe for more insightful discussions. Let's ensure sports remain about skill, passion, and fair play.